All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy Father's Day. Great game for the Orioles yesterday. Two things I'm going to talk about today. Hey, man, one of them just doesn't make any sense to me. So maybe if I talk it out, it'll make sense. Orioles win yesterday, 6-2. Taters, bombs, perfect. Baker pitches a great eighth inning, had me nervous. Awesome, right? So now we go to the ninth inning. It's 6-2, and Kimbrel comes out. I'm just like, it makes no sense to me. Vespi's available, Tate's available, and granted, Vespi, just got there, fine, but Tate's available. And if Kimbrel needs to come in, he can come in. But at this point, it'd be back-to-back days. It takes him out for today. So I was like, in real time, I'm like, this makes no sense. I just don't understand it. I'm like, I'll listen to what Hyde says after the game. Maybe there's something I'm missing. And he's like, his explanation was worse than I thought it was. Then initially I was just like, maybe he wanted, I don't know, maybe it was a matchup thing. I don't know. Right. But then his explanation after the game, what did he say? He goes, well, there's a three batter minimum and 6-2, a 4-run lead, excuse me, against that team. I consider that a safe situation. I'm just like, what the fuck does that even mean? First of all, Dylan Tate can't get guys out anymore. Like that's basically what he said. Which, if that's how he feels, maybe he can keep it to himself. Number one, because that's just not a great quote. And then number two, yeah, there's a three batter minimum. So if Tate gives up three straight hits, then we'll bring Kimbrel in. You manage a game in June like that, like it's the World Series. It's an anxious feeling. It's not a good feeling for the rest of the bullpen. I think it sends the wrong message. And more importantly, he can't be used today. And you got Corbin against Wheeler. I mean, most likely we're going to be in a one-run game here towards the end of the game, just based on how great both pitchers are. And it's like to not have Kimbrel, it makes no sense. You have an off day tomorrow, then you go to New York. So I'm like, Hyde sometimes. Well, look, you can criticize a lot of different things he does, but there's other times where it's not necessarily the decision he makes, it's like the anxiety in which he manages. And I just don't believe in managing that way. To say after the game that the thought process was, you have to face three batters. So basically Tate can give up three straight hits and then I'd have to bring Kimbrel in. It's just weird. It's weird to think that way. I don't think it's the right approach. So I didn't like that. That's one. And then this one's hard to do because I don't do hot takes. I don't do like, hell, I'm not doing anything for content or to get aggregated or anything like that. I just give my honest takes on what I see. And I think it's time after yesterday, really after the past weekend, right? Like watching Stowers hit the 3-run homer the other day. I was like, let me do a deep dive this morning, make sure the stats back up the feelings. And here's just not going to sound very nice. I don't mean it to sound not nice, but it's time to make a move. And there's only really one move to make, right? So let me set it up this way: the move to make is not Austin Hayes because you don't have another right-handed bat. You just don't. You got Connor Norby, but I haven't seen him play left field at the major league level. Nobody has. It's a dicey left field there in Baltimore. I doubt they want him to play left field, right? And Westberg has, I mean, it's over, right? Like he's on the Gunner and Adley level where when I say it's over, like his spot is solidified. It's not up for debate. You don't think about giving him, it doesn't matter who the pitcher is or what the matchup is. You don't pinch hit for him. He's just plugged into the lineup the same way Gunner and Adley are. Now he might get, excuse me, an off day or two more than Gunner, but the point is he's solidified his spot. So here's who has not solidified a spot, and it's Cowser. But what Cowser has done, as he's become a media person, he's taken it upon himself to do a ton of content, and chemistry wise, it's awkward, but he's got to go down. I mean, he just does. He is. If it wasn't for the media stuff, I think he'd already be down there, and that's a harsh thing to say because I get it. He's probably going to be in the media when he's finished. He's certainly an entertaining guy. The fans obviously have gravitated towards him, but these are the numbers. I mean, it just is what it is. 154 and one home run in June, and 188 and one home run in May. If we did not have Stowers and Kirsten, then yeah, maybe I'm inclined to let it ride out for a few more weeks. But at this point, I'm not. We got a month. We got what, 6 weeks, I guess, 5 weeks until, yeah, 6 weeks until the trade deadline. We got to figure out if Stowers is a superstar. Kirstead, I think, is a superstar. I think he really can be. But Stowers is next in line, and he's got to start. He's got to get those. He's got to get the Cowser treatment. He's got to be able to go up there because obviously after April and they got film on Cowser and he's back to hitting like he was last year. I don't know if it's fixable. I don't know exactly what's wrong. I'm not going to pretend that his career is over, but he's got to go back down. He's got to go to AAA and he's got to work on certain things because he's not hitting the ball. And it's killing the lineup. It just is. It's killing the vibe. And you can't start favoring people because they integrate themselves with the best players on the team. Like, I don't mean it to be rude. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but just because you're best friends with the best players doesn't mean you get to stay on the team. That's just not how Major League Baseball works. It's how high school basketball works. It's how certain things, right? Some guys make it for their personality, but we're not going to do that here when we can win the World Series. And Stowers has to play. He just does. And you can't bench Mullins. I mean, if you watch, look, if you watch baseball, I'm not trying to be condescending, but if you actually watch, there's no way Mullins will ever be demoted because he'll have to play defense in the eighth or ninth innings. Like, that's the worst case scenario for him. Is he is the center fielder, you know, when the game is tight at the end of the game, like, period. Like, he's way too good out there. And center field is the toughest position to play, in all of baseball, center field and shortstop. So you can't, no, he has to be out there, period. So worst case scenario for him is he's the fourth outfielder. Santander is solidified. I mean, he's not going anywhere. He's obviously been on fire. That right field DH spot is his, and left field is Hayes. Like I said, I mean, when you have a proven track record like Hayes does against the left-handed pitching, you're gonna get, like, there's just no other, there's no real argument to be made that, Hayes should not be on the team. Because if you're going to try to replace him, you got to get a better right-handed bat to play left field, and that's not our primary need. So you're going to trade your best prospects for a bullpen guy or a starter, not for a left fielder. You're going to ride out Hayes for this season against left-handed pitching. And then whether it's Norby or you want to do something different in the offseason, that's fine. But Hayes is going to get that spot. The thing that's up for grabs is who gets to play left field when a righty pitches. Because if Hayes isn't going to be awesome, then yeah, he'll be platooned, and it can't be Cowser at this point. It just can't. I don't know if it can be Stowers. Nobody knows because he hasn't gotten to play 4 days in a row, right? Like, it's at this point, that's what has to happen. We're going to New York after today. It's going to be, it's like a playoff series. Like, that's how it feels this weekend. That's how it's going to feel in New York. As shitty as it sounds, as tough as it is, somebody's got to be like, listen, you got to stay away from the media. Like, you haven't earned that. You just haven't. And Cowser had a nice few weeks to start the season. He's, by all accounts, going to be, a baseball player. Like, I don't know if he'll be an all-star, but he should be an everyday starter. But he's not ready. Something's not clicking, and we have two guys that deserve the opportunity. Kerstead hit another home run yesterday. At some point, like, what I would do is I would send Cowser down, and I would either bring up Kerstead or Norby. If I want to bring up Norby because I want another right-handed bat, just to have some defensive utility, give him some more looks, I think that's a good look, or I think that's a good idea. And if you want to bring up Kerstead and basically let Kerstead and Stowers split the time, I'm okay with that. But I think I lean towards Norby because I want Stowers to get consistent playing time. For trade purposes, slash what if he is an all-star? Like we have to find out. He plays a great left field. There's nothing that Cowser does better than Stowers. That's just the reality. Stowers beat him out in AAA, excuse me, beat him out in spring training, but they gave it to Cowser. It looked like that was the right decision, right? He wins Rookie of the Month. He's off to a great start, and it propelled him into acting like he made it, and he just hasn't. It takes a long time to make it. And like I said, Westberg has made it, and there's a different. You got to look at the trajectory of these guys when they first come up. It's okay to struggle. It's okay, but at some point, we got to see the breakthrough, and if not, then we just go back down and we work on it. You're still 24, and that's I think where we're at with Cowser. So yeah, I guess I'll need to repeat myself and say the same thing 5 different times, but that's where I'm at. I think Stowers, I think he's going to start today. We'll see what happens moving forward, but I guess that's about it. I'm going to go play some basketball this morning. Quick thought on the NBA, and then I'll do a podcast tomorrow to preview it. But yeah, that's why I say betting on the NBA. Let me just say this because I don't want to rant on it. Betting on the NBA requires you to live bet. I'm just now convinced that's the only way to ever have an opinion because I have no idea how Boston it just doesn't show up. Like to lose by that many points, it's just so weird. It's hard to predict. It's hard to get a feel for it. So it's like as the game's happening, it's much easier, I think, to notice certain things, whether it's a player or tempo, and bet accordingly. Because before the game starts, who knows? And going into tomorrow, yeah, again, who knows? Dallas is going to play free, which is the last thing Boston wants. So we'll see. I'll have a pod out tomorrow on that, and I think that's about it. Yeah. All right, guys. I will. Yeah, have my picks out. Hasn't been the greatest week. Looking forward to a good day today. I want to see what the lineup looks like before I make any predictions, but I know I'm going to be all over Burns. He's been great. I think he rises to the challenge today. So, all right. I hope everybody has a good day. See you guys tomorrow.